I love that frog. Just life in the moment, which really is beautiful all the time. If you look at that painting, you can't see how many layers of words there are. That thing was completely covered with words several times and painted over. And if you look closely at the surface, you'll see where, there's like words buried under words, and it creates kind of like a hypertext. Art in and of itself is not important. Seeing is important. Art is not important. Art is it's kind of like the most useless thing there is. Mostly what I like about art is making it. But in general, the experience of going to art galleries and museums it's one of the most unpleasant things I can think of. I hate going to galleries. I feel like I go into an art gallery, I feel like I'm being suffocated. And all I want to do is go to the window and look outside. Unless, of course, my work is in the gallery. Lots of fissures and cracks, and inside those cracks you can see colors that are not immediately apparent. There's all this push-pull of layers. Wherever I take you as a viewer in my paintings, I also like to continually be reminding you in a way that this is paint, and that I like to let paint be paint. And one of the things that paint does is it drips. So these paintings to me are like a representative of my consciousness. Spiritual ideas, mysticism, physics, space. It's suggestive of like nebula and the photos that you see from the Hubble. String theory, physics equations, poetry and sayings of Zen teachers and other mystical teachings. The Gurdjieffian ray of creation, words as if they were stars. It's about the mystery of creation. These paintings are the most true to who I am and what really interests me. And I don't care if people don't respond to them or dealers don't want to sell them. I'm making these paintings now because these are the paintings that I really want to make. When you look at a painting, you can almost always tell if it was just given or if it was given and taken away. I have this one dealer who, only wants trees. I have another dealer who wants big, bold red flowers. I have another dealer who loves maps. Another dealer who hates maps. One dealer who wants painting with language. Another one who doesn't want any language at all. And so, fortunately for me, I've attracted that group of dealers. So I get to, I can do what I want, and then I can send this here or that there. Not too many people are willing to work on a painting for like years, like a single painting. I mean, like nobody in their right mind would do that. Rags. It's the most important tool for a painter is a rag. More important than a brush. I heard an interview on the radio the other day with Richard Serra. Someone asked him if he had like advice for younger artists. He said, "Well, the only advice I have is don't go to the art store for your materials. Find your materials." That's really good advice. That's why I work with like sticks and bottles and brushes are a part of it, but it's much more interesting to just sort of look around and see, oh, I can pick that thing out. There's a ruler there, or a stick, or a bottle, or a leaf, or a crumpled up piece of paper. I can paint with that, and then if I do that, something different's going to happen than if I just use Just use a brush. I went to Italy for a year, my last year as an undergraduate, and studied the classics in Italian. And so that's how I got into the whole language thing, you know, and it was all towards being a better poet. That's what I was all about, being a better poet. So I got into the master's program at the New College of California, which was a renegade program run by a bunch of poets: Robert Duncan, Diane DePrima, Anselm Hollow, Duncan McNaughton, Louis Patler. It was just a bunch of crazy poets running a school into the ground, which they did. But I was there before it wound up underground. But I was not trained as a painter. I never thought of myself as a painter the way I thought of myself as a poet. So I had a lot of freedom as a painter. And little by little, my energy of this need in me to always do something creative started to shift from writing to painting. This is cobalt violet. Very fugitive. It's very unstable, but it's really gorgeous, as you can see. It's phenomenal. If you mix, you know, blue with red, and you don't like what you get, it's really easy to remedy that. If you mix any color with white or black and you don't like what you get, you really have to wait till it's dry and paint over it. On the other hand, what you can do with black and white is infinite. The practice of painting is getting out of the way. You know, it's getting out of the way. And that's a lot of the practice of life, is getting out of the way. It's like surfing. I mean, the greatest surfer in the world cannot influence the waves, but he can learn how to navigate the waves in the most elegant way. I do feel that the impression that's continually coming into me of the birds all the time, and the trees and the vineyards and everything that's in bloom here, and the fact that this is basically rural environment, and that, you know, most of the time my studio is wide open to the outside, so that big door is open, and kind of the relationship between the inside and the outside is as minimal as I can make it. I do feel it really informs my work. I feel that although I'm not painting vineyards, that these paintings are growing up and sprouting here just like everything else, the trees and the vineyards and everything that is growing and sprouting here. I do feel very connected to the place that I'm in. And this is a great place to raise a kid. I love that Gabe gets to grow up here, and he does some work. He's an artist, and he gets to do some work around the house. He's doing painting the hood of a car now. He's painted a shed out back. You should check it out. On the weekends, Tanya's here, and we always have a great dinner together. It's really fantastic. How's it going, Gabe? Good. How many work sessions do you think that's going to be?
You mean once I start painting?
Yeah.
Like one?
Man, I'm in the wrong business.
I mean, this is a small service. I've painted things that are like 5 times the size in like 20 minutes.
Alright, here's some.
Alright.
Your father. Why not?
Dad, come here.
Yeah.
Taking the dog for a quick walk. What, kid?
What's better?
This stuff stinks.
Dark with the light on the outside or light with the dark on the outside?
And it's going to have a black outline, right?
Yeah. So that's how I'll be doing the fill. Either
Dark with the light on the outside. Really?
Oh,
No, I meant dark with the light on. Yeah.
that's
Light
the one
with
I
the dark
thought.
on the
Yeah.
outside. That's what I thought.
Okay, that's in the outside.
Yeah. Light with the dark on the outside.
What do you want me to do?
Why don't you take all this garlic, crush it up for me, and put it in this bowl.
Basil?
Yeah. I need a break. If I walked into my studio every day, and whether or not I could put in a full day of work was based upon my emotions, or what I did was based upon my emotions, I would be doomed to fail. You know, if you can't, I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. It's in life as well as in art. You know, anything that you can say about art, about painting, you can say, you know, painting is like a microcosm, a metaphor for life. It's like, I know people, I'm getting off on a tangent now, but people will often say, you know, what did you feel when you made that painting? And it's like, well, you know, the painting took me 5 years to make. It kind of felt like everything. You know, I felt the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. But I never let those feelings stop me from making the painting. You know, and I really think you just have to trust the process and surrender to it, and you just have to keep working, and eventually, you know, a painting will be there. And how good it is, if you use the word good to judge a painting, you know, is really, it's kind of like out of my hands. You know, I think what I definitely have indisputable, there's like no dispute about this. What I have as an artist is dedication. You know, whether or not a particular painting or a body of work is you know, good painting, great painting, mediocre painting, that is something that I can't say, you know, beyond dispute. But I can say beyond dispute that I'm dedicated, and it's through the work, through dedication, through showing up, through jumping up enough into the hand of God, that, you know, a body of work evolves. And it's independent of me, and it's independent of my emotions, even though I go through all the emotions, but I don't mistake the emotions for limiting or directing my work. Sometimes I can be in the studio, I can be really tired, or I can be feeling like kind of hangdog, or, you know, worrying about something or preoccupied, but I'll still work the same as if I'm like top of the world, jumping up and down, Rocky, you know, feeling invincible. what happens in a given day in the studio based upon my emotional climate may have some significance in actually what comes out of me in that day. But because it's not watercolor painting, so it's not contingent upon it's going to look the way it is. It's a one-layer deal. It doesn't really matter because I'm looking at I'm either building surface or I'm delivering the finished product. I remember like early on when I would work on a painting, I would get so frustrated. I remember one time I took a brush and I threw it across the room and tore a hole through a painting that I'd been working on for 6 months and stuff. I couldn't imagine doing that kind of thing now. You know, it's like I think I was really immature as an artist then. You know, and I was more immature as a person, I guess. I thought, you know, I don't know. I guess I just wanted to know what it was like to do that. The practice of painting is getting out of the way. You know, it's getting out of the way. And that's a lot of the practice of life is getting out of the way. It's like surfing. You know, it's life is just like surfing, is just like painting, it's just like making music, is just like being in relationship. It's kind of being able to, I mean, the greatest surfer in the world cannot influence the waves, but he can learn how to navigate the waves in the most elegant way. So when whatever is moving in me to make a particular painting or a particular body of work, I can't really influence that, but I can learn how to navigate what is moving in me in a way so that, you know, I don't fall on my face. And that's kind of, you know, how I work. I don't have a preconceived notion, or if I do have a preconceived notion, I'm totally willing to follow it in an utterly different. You know, I could spend 6 months making a painting, a flower painting, and then in one afternoon it can become a tree painting, and all of that work, 150 layers, all those hours are completely gone from what anyone will ever see. But they're in there, you know. They're in there. They're built into it in the way that, you know, a person's character is built into them at every moment of who they are. And you don't see them as a little kid on the swing, or, you know, falling and, you know, getting a boo-boo, or, you know, falling in love or breaking up. You see them how they are. But everything, all those things come to bear on who they are in the moment that you meet them. And the painting is the same way. It's like all those things are in there. They don't limit it. They don't determine what it is. They're all just a part of the total experience of what the person is and what the painting is. I do feel like I am a nature painter. And by that, I mean not that I paint natural, even though, you know, it's flowers and trees and so forth. But I'm not a depictor of nature, but I am in harmony with nature. And in that way, I consider myself a nature painter. And I wonder how much the environment that I'm in informs my paintings. I don't